Today's topic is hot. Today's topic is hot because we are talking about second expansion to Diablo 2 Resurrected. This expansion is very small. It's not as Lord of Destruction, but it is unusual situation. No one really expected that, and that there will be another expansion. Unfortunately, this expansion called Reign of the Warlock is not adding a new act. So we don't have new monsters or new. We have a little bit new monsters, but not in that normal way when we have some area and we just kill new types of monsters. But nevertheless, we didn't get Act 6. Reign of the Warlock was published, and since Lord of Destruction, its second expansion, so almost even 25 years, 26 years have passed since last expansion. We of course had a little bit adds up like torches and Uber Tristram, and then later essences from act bosses when we can gather them and respect our abilities. But this expansion is the biggest since Lord of Destruction. And is it worth it? I think yes. I think it is really worth its price. It's about $30, something like that. Because we get another class, Warlock, and this class is very hot right now. When you see, I'm playing on non-ladder online, prices are extremely high. Torches for Warlock are extremely high, a couple of high runes, and those most popular ones like Yaks or Bears. Warlock is a very hot character. I would say right now I see maybe 30% players or something like that playing only Warlocks. And very often coming to my game when I, for example, when I'm trading. Also, Warlock got, because we also have some unique items, but most of them not very potent. They will not replace those popular ones like Stone of Jordan, Shaco, Griffon's Eye, and so on. And we have a couple of rune words also, but they are not as good as those we are using right now. But nevertheless, Warlock got an interesting rune for its weapon, because Warlock is a combination of let's say sorceress, so someone like who can cast spells, and also a warrior in a way. So this is an interesting combination. The character looks okay. I think it looks it looks okay, but it looks the worst from all other classes. So right now it's an eighth class Warlock, but it for me it looks the worst. And important part about this, that he looks his appearance, his character looks so bad, is because he's holding its weapon in a telekinetical way. So he cannot attack his weapon like projectile type characters, but he's not also fully melee. So his weapon is next to him or near him, levitating, and this levitation process, it floats next to him. It levitates. Maybe levitation is a better word. Next to him, and it looks really bizarre, really stupid. I spoke to two of my friends who are playing. One of them is playing Reign of Warlock right now. One of them is Warlock, and both of them agreed that this look is really, really stupid. They need to change it. I think it will be far, far better than that, when abilities will be like projectile, semi-projectile style, semi-archery and semi-melee, but he will hold his weapon as normal characters, because all characters are holding, even sorcerer, necromancer, elemental druid, elemental assassin, they all holding their weapons in their hands, and it looks really really good. But the look of this telekinetical way of holding weapons for Warlock looks really bizarre, looks really stupid, looks really unfinished. But the important part about it, and for me very interesting, it's an interesting combination, is that Warlock can wield two-handed staffs, swords, any kind of weapon in one hand. So, for example, we have this staff, nudge nudge staff, when it gets you 4 to all skills, but it was useless mostly because when you combine spirit and Hoto, you get 5 to all skills. So nudge was was not efficient way to wield for elemental characters because it gave only 4. But right now, when Warlock can wield this staff in one hand, he got 4 to all skills from nudge staff and 2 from the spirit rune word. Also, he got a new rune word, and it can be put in a staff, and it gets him even more to all skills, like 5 or something. 5. A very interesting rune word, probably the most useful for the Warlock, the most optimal rune word for him. And also he got 2 sets. One for low level Warlocks. It's rather melee set, but it is a little bit useless because it only requires 8th level, so it will be obsolete very fast. But the next one, Horizon set, elite set for Warlock, is very expensive. It's like 7 yaks for all pieces of this set. So really very expensive set. Right now prices are I am not native English speaker, so I cannot found a proper word, are out of hand. For example, I'm playing on non-ladder Europe, and in 6 months ago I bought 20 Yach runes for 47 zlotys. So 47 zlotys are like let's say just 47 zlotys. And right now the price of 20 yachs is 350 zlotys. Or no, I overdosed it. It's 185. But nevertheless, in 6 months ago, 47 zlotys, 20 yaks. Right now, 187 zlotys. So it's more than 3 times. Prices are 3 times higher for high runes, and also for other artifacts in the game. For example, I usually could bought on non-ladder skillers for elemental assassin for pool. Right now I can only buy them for 1 east. So prices are really really high. Everything costs more. Literally everything. For example, usually you can gather 3 keys from Countess Nitiklak and let's say the monologue, and for 3 keys you have East, But right now, because all players are looking for a torch for Warlock, you can get East for only 2 keys. So it's better for those who are, for example, farming keys in Diablo 2. But also and this expansion showed us that the Warlock is a class of let's say melee attacks, but also of for me the most interesting part is of fire attacks. And these fire attacks consist 3 skills, and one of them, the most important one, the strongest, is Apocalypse. Apocalypse was a very powerful spell in Diablo 1, and Diablo in Diablo 1 used it when you were fighting with him. And I think it was even. I'm not sure if in normal Diablo you can even acquire a Book of Apocalypse, but I'm pretty sure that in expansion, because Diablo 1 got an expansion, you were able to learn this Apocalypse spell. So right now, Warlock has like melee abilities, and and has fire abilities, only 3 but very powerful fire abilities. And so one of them right now I'm using is like fireballs in all direction. So he's projectile fireball, but not only one. It's a ring of fireballs. Next spell, which for me was a big failure, it's like wave of fire, but I'm not sure who got a horrific idea that this uh, wave of fire, flame wave, has a cooldown of little more than 1 second before it starts to travel to your enemies. Completely disastrous skill. Completely disastrous skill. I was hoping, because I was leveling Warlock, and then okay, I got 18th level, so I will use this wave of flame wave. No, it's not possible right now, because the skill is broken. No one will, no one will stand. None of your enemies will stand in the path for 1 second and to 1 second and a little bit more, just to be killed by your flame wave. It's so bizarre, so boring, so strange to watch this skill, that they should rework it immediately. And right now I can't use Apocalypse because I'm too low level, but the Apocalypse spell has a very long cooldown, but it is a very wide open spell, like AoE is almost for all your screen, and it is like a pentagram of fire, very cool looking, and it also decreases fire resistance of monsters. So really good looking skill, very powerful. I hope I will be playing Warlock soon, because right now I'm not playing Warlock, because everything for him is so expensive that I'm doing other characters. But also the Warlock has a tree of demons, and he can summon demons, like for example Goat Man from first act, and also another demon later, which was also from first act, which was shooting projectiles. I forgot its proper name. And the most interesting, and then in third you can bring Reaper, like from Mass Effect, monster from Act 5th, World Stone Keep. So this is the final demon. But the final skill, the best skill from this tree, is of course when you can bind a demon, even super unique, from a game. So you cannot bind the act bosses, and some demons like Countess and for example Blood Raven from Act 1, but you can, for example, bind Hephaestus, the blacksmith from the Forge quest from Act 4, and he's the most popular one because he can have a conviction aura, and maximum level of conviction of his conviction aura can be 12, just like Infinity Rune Ward, which is used on your mercenary to low level the elemental resistance of monsters. So he is used, I would say, the most often, and sometimes players use Lister from Bal Throne Room, because Lister has the best aggro. He's the best in a way that monsters can attack him. So he has the best aggro, but the best monsters in just a simple way of DPS, especially melee DPS, are unique monsters from Uber quests. From Uber quests, but I see that they are not as popular as Hephaestus the blacksmith or Lister. So a very interesting skill. Congratulations for makers of Reign of the Warlock, that some of the skills of Warlock are really interesting, but I think that he has too few skills of elemental origin, and also too few skills of elemental origin and too many of melee origin. I would say that Warlock, when for example we are playing Warlock like characters in, I don't know, Baldur's Gate, but Baldur's Gate don't have Warlock, but let's say World of Warcraft, Warlock is rather a wizard-like character, not melee-like character. So I think his tree of elemental skills should be far more bigger than just 3 fire skills, even though they are potent. And also I think that what else? Yes, that his look and his wearing of weapons needs to be changed immediately. Um, because I think that his melee skills are a little bit goofy and a little bit bizarre and a little bit retarded. When he uses his melee skills, which can be very powerful and probably the most powerful builds are on these melee kinetic like attacks, they look really stupid. And of course he has also interesting thing that he can use new items which are called tomes, like books, and so he is one of the few characters, elemental characters, who has better option than Spirit Runeword. Spirit Runeword is very potent for elemental characters, but he can use a unique book which gives him like 5 to Apocalypse and 2 to like all skills. Very powerful book, very rare. So it's interesting that he has this combination which can be tweaked, which is not possible in many elemental characters. But also we got something like Uber Ancient. Uber Ancients, because right now from act bosses, all act bosses are dropping statues, and those statues can be reversed to like enter to Uber Ancients. They are very difficult to defeat, and then you can have a gem, very unique special gem, only one in your inventory, not like facets when they lower resistance to something, but you can have 4 in armor and so on, like runes a little bit. But you can only have one of these gem, but they are really powerful. I didn't check them very thoroughly right now, but we also got another new content, but for me this content is too difficult to play and needs to be changed. This content is Thunder Charms, because players were not satisfied that Thunder Charms are too easy to obtain, and Thunder Charms were a new addition. And why they were put into the game? Well, because the most powerful builds in Diablo 2 are elemental builds, but on the highest difficulty of Diablo 2 Hell, you have monsters who are immune to some elementals, so they are completely immune, and to hurt them you need to destroy this immunity. And the best way to do this was to give your mercenary a rune word, very powerful, Infinity, and this rune word has a paladin aura conviction, and this conviction aura is stripping out of immunities of monsters. But this rune word was rather expensive and difficult to get, because you need to have an herald weapon, because it was the best for your mercenary. It needs to have 4 sockets, so it was not that easy to make and create. And Thunder Charms helped to resolve this, because they were stripping only about 5% of the immunity of monsters, but still this 5% was enough to for example, if you were fire and you strip a monster for even 5% and it has like 95 still resistance to fire, you can still hurt him and kill him. But the Thunder Charms also has the penalty for you and lowering your fire resistance. So it was pretty easy, and the gap was between 70 and 90. So 90 were the worst. They were lowering your resistance to that specific element by 90. The best were 70. But right now they are far more, like 62 times more difficult to find. Something unbelievable, and they are more powerful because they can have more stats on them. So not only lowering your resistance and stripping out immunities, but they can have other assets for your characters. But they are so difficult because you need to do terror zones all of the time, because we have also a new way of terrorize whole act. So not only one area, but the whole act of the game. And in those terror zones you have like heralds. There are different tiers of heralds, and they sometimes, very rare, can drop these Thunder Charms, but it is so rare that the whole concept was destroyed, because the concept of Thunder Charms, of course, players were complaining that they are useless because they can drop often and often. I didn't see that. I think they dropped just fine. Maybe if you were playing with other players and farming them, they would drop too easy. But for me, they dropped just fine. But right now they don't drop at all. They are so rare that they don't drop at all. And of course you can return to the legacy version, but you cannot play then Reign of the Warlock with new content and with new class. So it's senseless. So it's senseless to play older version. You want to play the newest version of Diablo 2 Resurrected. So they completely destroyed the idea of Thunder Charms, because Thunder Charms should be acquire easier than Infinity Ward. And right now we have a reversal situation, that getting an Infinity Ward as herald weapon with 4 sockets and Bear Mal, Bear East, those are runes, and 2 of them are high runes, 2 bears are high runes. It's easier than get a Thunder Charm. So they destroyed and reversed the idea, which was backed by players, to not only be reliable on Infinity Rune Ward. So I'm sure they will change it in the future, that Thunder Charms should be rare. Okay, should be rarer than before, but not as rare. Because right now I want to just do Infinity and don't get a Thunder Charm, because Thunder Charm, his disadvantage is that he's lowering my resistance, lowest is 70, highest 90, and it takes 3 slots in my inventory, and I can put other charms like Grand Skillers in my inventory and have Mercenary with the Infinity. And of course, with Thunder Charm and Infinity, you are stronger and so on. But right now, if those Thunder Charms are someone put a strategy how to farm those Thunder Charms, and the best way to do this is to do a whole game terrorized. So and an important factor is that you cannot leave this game. So you cannot, for example, let's say terrorized whole act, but let's do only act one. No, the best way is to do whole game for with one take, because when you leaving the game you reset everything. So it's a completely bizarre, wicked, stupid idea. They will change it. I even don't think about Thunder Charms right now. They are so difficult to obtain. But I think that it was worth it to buy it. It was really worth it to buy it because it put a little new wave of thinking about the game, of the strategies of the game, a new class, still good class, interesting class, with new ideas, especially those that you can put one two-handed weapon in one hand, and you don't need to use Spirit Rune Word, and very interesting fire, very cool looking fire skills, new content, but you know, the problem with Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is a remake of Diablo 2, is that it has so much RNG, and RNG is just like blind luck to find something. That for me, for example, because let's say you can farm, for example, unique items or green items or general magical items. You just put magic find items on you and you kill act bosses. So in unique items, it's not that difficult to find ones you are looking for. The problem is that, for example, if you are looking perfect ones, because most of them has like 3 or 4 statistics which can change, and you are, for example, looking for a perfect. So let's say Shaco has only one statistic, defense, which can be different. But when you are looking a perfect Shaco, it's completely different idea. For example, I'm looking for a Crown of Ages. Crown of Thieves. It's a popular helm for those who are looking for or farming gold, because farming gold is important in some way in Diablo 2, and the Crown of Thieves has like 3 different stats which can change. So Crown of Thieves is a very cheap item. You can get it for free. You can get it for one perfect game. Very rare, very cheap, not very popular helm. But when I was looking for a perfect Crown of Thieves with those 3 stats perfect, it costs like 40 yaks. So it's a very, 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 very high price. Very high price, 40 yak runes. But why I'm talking about unique items? Because unique items you can in a way farm. You can in a way farm keys, for example, to do Uber Tristram and look for torches or look for perfect torches. But the most important money-like type item in the game are runes. Runes are like money in World of Warcraft, in Lost Ark. So they are the most important thing because you can make rune words with them, and rune words are the most potent items in the game, but they are also like money. Because you don't have in Diablo 2 auction house, you need to create your own game and be in this game, which is a topic for another discussion. Should they change it, or if they are able to. But runes are dropping so low that I prefer to buy them from, I don't know, from other players who can, I don't know if they are copying them or duping them, and Blizzard allow this, but I would prefer just to buy this because, for example, when 6 months ago 20 yaks were cost like 47 zlotys, it's a very cheap price for 20 yaks, very cheap price. Never in my game I found one yak rune. The highest one was one law, and yak I have never found. And I'm playing Diablo from the beginning. Then I have the long break. I'm like playing Diablo 1 hour per day right now when I'm 40 years old. So I think that they should or implement auction house when the trade will be faster, more efficient, or they should a little bit increase the drop rate of high runes. Because right now, really, if you want to play efficiently in Diablo, you need to buy those high runes from online market, like for real money, because you are not able to find high runes efficiently. Of course, there are ideas like do cows, do chaos sanctuary, but you will find maybe one high rune after several to like 20-30 runs. So 20-30 runs is a quite enormous experience just for one high rune, because most powerful rune awards can demand like even 3, 4, 5 high runes. So it's a really tiring process, very difficult. Right now, in Diablo 2 Resurrected, I found one Vex, one Ochm, and one Law. They are high runes, but they are not the most popular, the highest ones. And one Ham, but the most expensive ones are like Bear and Yach, and I have never found them so far. So I think that they should, like with magic find items, you can increase your chances. You can farm unique items, which are gold items, set items, which are green items, magical items, which are blue items, yellow items, which are magical yellow in this color. But you cannot really farm runes efficiently. Like you are happy with this farming, like you have some success. So for me, it's, for example, right now I want to buy equipment for my Warlock, and without high runes, it's impossible. And I cannot buy it from other market because the prices are very, very high, extremely exorbitantly high, and I am not able to find any high runes because it's really tiring process, very difficult even for veteran Diablo 2 players. So I think that still Reign of the Warlock is a good expansion, a little bit maybe too small. We still expect that I think that they should, if they are, for example, not able to do Act 6, they should add something to Act 4, which is a very short act. They couldn't finish it properly in the original Diablo. They should, for example, expand fourth act. It will be easier than doing completely another different act. Let me know in the comments what do you think specifically about Reign of the Warlock. I think it's a worth expansion. It's worth to buy it. It's worth to check this new class. It's still good. I think it's still good and worth playing, even though they should immediately change how this Warlock is holding its weapon. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this specific expansion.